Good day everyone, welcome back to the part 4 of the For Honor build of the Warden, or the Knight from For Honor, which will be coming out this February of 2017. What I have here is the templates for the forearm, shin piece, and kneecap, as well as the elbow. I provided you with half the template for the shin, forearm, and kneecap, just because you can flip it over and trace it to the other side when needed. Once again, we're going to start off with tracing the outline onto whatever material you're using. I'm just using a marker to trace it out, and then once I have one side, I flip it over to get the other side that I'm looking for. So once you've completed that, this is what you should be having so far. Some of the pieces I am doing along with you for the first time, and other I have in comparison to show you. As well, you can see some of the other pieces that we have finished in the background. The helmet, which is not up yet, but the pauldrons, which have been painted. I will go over a painting tutorial, both of them, both sets, since there was 2 different pauldron main templates that I had included for you guys, as well as the chest armor piece, which is something that we finished up for you. But once now, we're going to be showing you how to go from where it has no trimming, no heat forming done, or bow damage to it yet, or rivets. So before we do anything, let's get back onto this. So once you've cut out the templates, we're going to trace out, once again, a centimeter to 1/4 of an inch inwards from the edge to indicate where our trim line is going to be, and we're going to be using the edge of the sanding bit on the Dremel to carve into the foam, not fully, but just enough to give us that trim look that we are looking for. Right here, once you've done it to the gauntlet, you want to make sure you also do it down the middle, as well as the 2 side pieces. Before we cut them, we need to make sure they're heated and at the same angle as the rest of the piece. So we're going to heat this gauntlet piece all together before cutting it and giving it that layered effect, which is the look we are going for. If you're not sure about the angle, or whether the lines seem right for you, whether they're in too far or not in enough, you can always go over them. Just make sure you set this part out, because it's a lot easier to take 5 extra minutes at the beginning as opposed to having to restart from scratch again when you could have taken preparatory time to put it into your build. Once we have all those trim lines set up in areas where we want to get bow damage, I'm just using the sanding bit to clean up the edge of the pieces I have cut out, just to make the edge not so sharp, as well as clean up and make it more round. That way it's more able to conform with the trim line we are going to be going for when using the sanding bit on the pieces that we're doing. It's much easier to have it on a slower speed for using the Dremel to have it under your control, and once you're more comfortable, you can either possibly turn up the speed if you want, but I feel that it's a lot easier for you to handle and take your time on this one. You can always take away more, but you can't put on what you've taken off. As you see here, we're just going over that trim section using the edge of the sanding bit, slowly taking a little bit away each time. If I feel that I need to go over it more, I do just go over that section where I think it needs adjustment again until I get the desired look I'm going for. The goal here is to have it more rounded, as opposed to having just the edges sanded and then the flat top. We want it to be more of a uniform semicircle design on that edge piece for each of the armor pieces that we're doing. And here I'm just adding a bit more bow damage on pockets of air bubbles from the foam to kind of conceal those areas of imperfections on the foam. Once we're satisfied with what we've done, I'm going to use the heat gun. This does a few things with sealing up the foam, which makes it easier for painting, allows us to conform the piece around our body type to give it whatever configuration of a bend that we are looking for. If you are going to be folding this over an area of your body, let's say you want curved around your arm or leg, make sure you overdo it and hold it in that area, hold it in that section where it's overdone, folded more than what you necessarily need, because once it cools, it will retract, and that'll be like 5 minutes of you just holding it or having something lay on it to hold it in place. That way until you get it to the shape you're looking for, and this also helps open up any lines that we have carved into the foam, like those trims areas, as well as the sections that have been battle damaged. So right now I'm just rolling it up, and then I'll find something heavy to weigh it down, and then it'll be conformed to the shape I'm looking for. Once you have all those pieces sanded and dremeled, this is what they should look like: the kneecaps and the elbow pieces, as well as the forearm. Now once we have the shape of our gauntlet, we can now cut those edge sections and then glue them slightly underneath the main centerpiece. That way it gives us that terrace effect that we are looking for. I'm just using hot glue to attach these. You guys can use barge or contact cement, which I would suggest, but it's not readily available within my country unless I'm to order it, or it's not located locally around me. So using the tools I have on hand and the skills I know, I will be using hot glue, and you can just see here the laying out how the look I want to go for it. Depending on how much of you want your forearm exposed will affect how much overlapping happens with this piece. I just did a little bit, and once I was satisfied, I hot glued that section, and then afterwards I reinforced it with hot glue on the underside. That way it's fully secured, and then here you can see both pieces are attached, and then we'll be moving on to the rest of it. Now once again we'll be using googly eyes. If you don't have those available, you can be using the beads of hot glue. It's much easier to apply the hot glue to the googly eyes first as opposed to your foam, because that way you have less hot glue strings coming off of it, and it's much easier to clean up and have a better looking piece. And then I've just indicated little purple dots. It's maybe hard to see for the camera to pick up on my pieces for where I want to glue the googly eyes, but that's happening off camera, and once I'm happy with them, I just put them into place. So now you're done. So here's what we should be looking after tracing, carving out with the heat gun, carving out with a Dremel, using the heat gun to seal it and form it. This should be what you're looking for. I've done a little bit of a rough paint job on some of the pieces, but here's the final product. Next we'll be moving on to the helmet template, and then as well as strapping, sealing, and painting techniques that you could use for your armor. This has been Kyle, and have a good day.